Atlanta fans, welcome to that Atlanta sports show. Not just any sports show, not this sports show, that Atlanta sports show. This is Impact Media's weekly show all about Atlanta United and those Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. Got some good stuff to talk about tonight. As always, if you want to leave us a question, comment, suggestion, rating, review, if you want to subscribe to the show, you can go to YouTube, impact_media_, and you will find all of our content there along with all of our other shows except for our hockey coverage, which it has its own channel, Board Check 99. You can go check that out as well. New show just dropped on that one just a few minutes ago, right before we came on here. Good stuff we want to get into. Let's start with the Falcons. I want to get that going. I want to get that out of the way a little bit because there's some stuff. There is some stuff. And let's start right here. Jonnu Smith was not brought back. His contract ran out, or they cut him, or whatever it is to save money. He goes down to Miami. He gets 2 years, $10 million, I think, plus incentives, or maybe with incentives, things like that. Great for Jonnu Smith. It's going to be a great fit in Miami. And I know what a lot of you guys are saying. A lot of you guys say, oh, no, he was one of our greatest pass catchers. Well, he was, because for some reason Desmond Ridder only saw him in the field. I'm not saying that's a knock on Ridder. He's probably the one that was open, at least in front of him, because he ran a lot of routes that went up the middle, where London kind of went this direction and Pitts kind of went this direction. So, sometimes a young quarterback's best friend is the tight end, because I don't consider Pitts a tight end. They can list him as whatever they want. If they pick up his fifth-year option, which I think they're going to do, I don't think they have to make a designation. But this is the whole Jimmy Graham debate where I don't think he's a tight end. But keep this in mind. With the scheme that they're going to run, the tight ends outside of Pitts are mostly going to be blockers. They're going to do a lot of blocking to help set up things down the field. Like, if they're open, they're open. But this new offense, I think they're going to draft a really good receiver. We'll talk about that in a second. Or we'll talk about that now. I think they're going to draft a really good receiver, second, third round, something like that, to pair with Drake London. Put London on one side, put this guy on the other, put Pitts in there as well, and have that three-headed attack on top of the great talent they have around that. They've got 3 running backs. If they keep all 3, they could just keep Bijan and I just forgot his name. Sorry, but I could see Cordarrelle Patterson being a maybe a late roster cut or try to move him along. He's done some fantastic stuff, but last year he pretty much got relegated to catching punts. And it wasn't because they weren't like he wasn't good. It's just, I don't know. That coaching staff is probably a reason why they're not around, right? Okay. So you've got 3 running backs. You have 2 A-level receivers in Pitts and London. You have a couple Bs and a couple Cs even. That does good stuff. So, and you got your coach. So if we go by the formula I said, you get a head coach, you get a lineman or so, which they're working on, and offensive lineman, and maybe a defensive stalwart. There's that weird rumor about Aaron Donald coming across. I don't know if he will. I wouldn't put a lot of stock into it. It's kind of like the Justin Fields rumor. You guys ever noticed that the only reason that picks up is because the fans start talking about it. Nobody inside the NFL is saying much about it. Nobody else. It's a fan thing, and that's great that you want to bring him here. I don't think it's going to work. So what are you going to do? Well, Pat McAfee, who doesn't make stuff up, he might make some stuff up. I can't say he doesn't 100%, say everything completely true, but he probably does. He's pretty reputable. He says on his show the other day that when you're in this business, you make friends and acquaintances and you learn things, sometimes secondhand knowledge, but stuff you can trust. He said Kirk Cousins has been looking around at Atlanta schools, kind of looking around. So Atlanta is a team on his list, and he's trying to see maybe the kind of school he would want to put his kids in. That's a promising sign. Now, is he coming off a bad Achilles injury? Yeah, he seems to be doing okay, though. It seems to be a strategy they're looking at doing. You bring in a veteran like Kirk Cousins for a year and a half, 2 years. Well, it's probably 1 year. And then what do? Because do you keep Riddicker. I'm making up words now. Do you keep Ritter and have him behind Kirk Cousins? Not a bad idea. Do you move on from him and Heineke and draft a quarterback that's going to take over for Cousins in a year or so? It's possible. Do you have Ritter and Heineke battle it out for the backup spot, and you get rid of the other one? There's always that. What would I do? I would sign Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins. Make sure I say his name right. And this is his team for a year. And if at the end of this year you feel that Ritter, that's who I would stick with. I don't want to give up on this kid. I know I said last year let's run him out of town. I said a lot of stuff. Right now, I don't think you should. I think you should leave him here because of his contract. Heineke is the expendable one because of the contract. Okay. I understand it. Heineke might be the slightly better quarterback, but he got to start more in Washington than Ritter did, and he had a better situation. I would keep Ritter unless you have him and Heineke battle it out, and backup is a backup. But whoever my backup is, I want to have the intention that they are the starter moving forward, like after a year or so. And Kurt knows that. Kurt's going to get like a 1 or 2 year deal, probably second year as a club option. That's what he's looking at, and he knows that. Flacco's probably staying in Cleveland. There's a couple other veterans out there. To me, Kirk Cousins is the best one by far. But that's what I would do. And it seems to me the prevailing move that a veteran coach in this league, like Raheem Morris, would want to do. He's going to bring in a veteran. He's going to let his young quarterback get his feet under him and not just throw him to the wolves immediately and just hope for the best. Because I think Cousins is a way better person to mentor somebody than Mariota was. I just think Mariota just didn't know. I just think he just didn't know how to particularly do that. There's a reason why Peyton Manning's not a coach, because he knows how to do what he does, and he knows how to like tell the people around him. But I don't know how he is at teaching this to other people. And that's to me why I think he's in other ventures. That's why I think Tom Brady, instead of getting into coaching, he's in announcing and he's in other things like that. I think he wants to talk about the game. He doesn't want to teach it. It's not for everybody. So, I think Cousins is the better mentor. I think he can do some fantastic stuff. I think Desmond Ritter's the one to stick with. That's what I'm going to stick with. That's pretty much the Falcons news. So let's get into United. Let's get into the Five Stripes, because fun stuff, plus an update on the next time you can see us. Run into me. Try not to hurt me if you run into me. But let's start. They played their opening game a couple weeks ago against Columbus Crew in Columbus, the reigning, defending, undisputed MLS champs, Columbus. And they lost 1-0. They gave up that goal in the first. It could have been 3-0. It could have also been 2-2. I felt like in the first half it was a little shaky. It seemed that the continuity was not quite there yet. But Almada had been with the team with about a 4 or 5 day window at that point. He's got to get his confidence up, which is not a problem. And I think he's got to get used to Gigi and Firmino and Mamba and all the fantastic players on this team, and learn how everybody's tendencies are. Is somebody going to go left or right? Is he going to go deep? Is he going to go short? Kind of like the way a quarterback learns his receivers. You kind of want to know instinctually, if the play breaks down, where this guy's going. If you're trying to advance, is he going to call the audible and run a different route? Well, that's what Almada and others are going to be trying to do here. And I think that you're going to see it. You're going to see it good in the next game. But like I said, first half was a little shaky, a little not quite put together. Didn't quite look like Atlanta United football. We'll call it football, soccer for the rest of you guys. But in the second half, man, it was much better. That looked more like the Atlanta United we all know and love. And I know Stian Gregerson and Brad Guzan, and a bunch of other players. Gigi said the same thing. Giacomakis. He said, "Man, that second half, I think, was starting to show what we can do when it all meshes together, when it all everybody's kind of on the same page, and it wasn't just the personnel because you go, oh well, there were some subs, so clearly those subs should be starting. It wasn't that. It was that the team started to play together instead of trying to figure it out individually. So, like I said, they looked a lot better in the second half. They had a lot more chances and definitely didn't give up a lot of big chances. But it seems like to me that when that goal was scored, I agree with Doug Robertson from the AJC. He is the beat writer and number one reporter for not only United but the MLS because he does such a fantastic job. Shout out to Doug. And yes, I heard some of you guys. I'm going to try to get Doug on here at some point because he's fantastic. He said this as well, and I got to echo it. Brad kind of hinted at it. He wouldn't come out and say it, but when somebody suggested it to him, he kind of broadly and Yakamaka said similar that first goal had a lot to do with missed assignments and not being, what is the word? Not being reactive and not proactive, like kind of anticipating. That's that word moving forward. Kind of anticipating where the play could go, and just sometimes standing in the way or running in front of somebody that makes them stall out. That's pretty much what we're looking at. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, Brad gave up the goal." Well, yeah, if your defense falls apart in front of you, ask any goalie in any sport. Hockey's another one. You get a goalie give up 5 goals. Well, maybe 1 or 2 were on him. The other 3 are usually because the team in front of him fell apart and the defense left gaps where the team could score. A lot of times that's what happens in MLS and EPL and all those as well. Soccer and hockey are very similar in that, and football, and it's it seems like that breakdown, just some people didn't move over when they needed to, didn't step in front of people, and they give up the goal. And unfortunately, they can't put one together yet to put one in the back of the net, so you lose 1-0. Those kind of things happen. But you get the whole week off, so Almada's got to practice with everybody there, got to get used to everybody again because he's been with the Argentine national team for so long. That's okay because even though Messi doesn't play in Atlanta, there are other people like Firmino and Giacomakis that can put it in the back of the net just as good. The good news, Atlanta fans, is the home openers this weekend. It is Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I don't know if they have the grass in yet that's going to be used for the World Cup. I know if not, it's coming pretty soon. But that grass is going to be planted and be growing aplenty very soon. Kickoff is 7 p.m. for that one. Like I said, it's the New England Revolution. And as I said, you will see this guy somewhere on the premises. Find me, say hello. Maybe we'll get you a hamburger or something because I'm not going to buy you an adult beverage. Just not going to happen, guys. But New England is kind of off to a weird start as well. I think this is the perfect time for Atlanta to not only get the first home win, but get the first win of the year. I think they're really, really just itching with the anticipation of showing off for the home crowd. I believe the whole stadium is open, so there may be tickets still available. Go find some. And like I said, if you see me walking around, say hello. Love to talk with all you guys. But other than that, this has been another great edition of That Atlanta Sports Show. I am Jeremy the Impact York. We will see you guys next week. Go Falcons. Go United.